Hey, what's going on, beautiful jellyfish? It's Tracy. Thank you so much for taking a little bit of time in your day to hang out with me. I really appreciate it. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about just like things in general that are worth the money in like the Magic universe that I found, because I do videos where I talk specifically about cards that are worth the money, and I think that's great, but this is kind of more of just like general things. Like in my experience as a Magic player, these are things that I think are worth it, because the reality is there's so many events and, you know, Magic cards and boxes and things, and there's just a lot. So let's hop into it. Okay, cool. The first thing I want to talk about is my Ultimate Guard Super Hive. This thing is absolutely wonderful. I got it in my paper color. My favorite color, which you can't tell, I'm rocking the purple today. I love this thing. This thing holds a ton. So it holds 8 commander decks. There's a little bit of like space in there, but there's nothing you can really like do about this. This holds them, and then it fits both of these deck boxes. I have these are like the Ultra Pro ones, and then these are the Ultimate Guard ones, which, you know, are basically just literally like the same thing, like the same size. And it holds 8 of those, which is great. And one reason why I would really recommend this, or just these products in general, because this one's the big one that holds 8. Oh, and it also has a little compartment here where you can put some dice and stuff and like tokens and counters and things. But basically why I recommend this, or just these Ultimate Guard products in general, is because it's a really nice way to keep all your stuff organized in one thing. This is really great too, where if you like, I have mine in a bag, but if you like just needed to take this, for example, you could definitely do that. You know, if you had like a 60 deck box where you put like your tokens and maybe you put more dice in there or something like that, for your life total and things. I have more stuff, so I take more than this, but this is really great. One reason I like this too is because it's a really easy way to track your decks, where if you're someone like me where I have like over 10 commander decks, it can be really easy to like get lost amongst, if I just have them all scattered in my bag. This just keeps them in a really nice spot. This is a really, really nice quality as well. This is like $60, which seems a little bit expensive, but for something that you're going to use all the time, it's just really nice quality. This is like, I definitely recommend this. But if you're someone who maybe doesn't have as many decks, they do make smaller versions of these that I would also look into. So I will list this in the down bar below. I got mine from my LGS, but you can also find them on Star City Games and Amazon. So okay, the next thing I want to talk about are nice sleeves. And I feel like nice sleeves are something that some people just like don't want to spend money on, and the reality of the situation is you're not going to regret spending money on good sleeves, because they're going to protect your cards and keep them, you know, nice and secure. With that, additionally, I would also say I definitely recommend perfect fits. And why I recommend nice sleeves and perfect fits is, first off, you're going to want to take care of your cards for yourself, and then the possibility of, if you ever trade those cards away or sell those cards in the future, you want to get the most value out of your cards. You want to make sure you're taking care of them. Also too, I'm not someone who, honestly, like when I buy cards and when I trade cards, I don't want cards that are damaged. I don't want cards that are moderately played. I want nice cards that look nice. So I want to take care of my cards, so that one day if they're ever, you know, sold to someone or traded away to someone, they're in nice condition. And one thing that's going to help me do that is to have perfect fits, which are a really great way to take care of your cards, and shields and sleeves that do that. And I would say the best sleeves, in my personal opinion, are Dragon Shield mats. I've been using Dragon Shield mats for years, and I've never had a Dragon Shield split on me, and they're just the best. I've used a bunch of Ultra Pros in the past. I think Paul's used KMCs in the past, and he likes the KMCs, but just I always go back to Dragon Shield mats. They're on every single one of my commander decks, and I haven't looked back ever since I started them. So that's just the recommendation that I'd give to you. They're about like $10 to $12 for a box of 100. They always come with a little bit of extra, which is really nice, but again, I've never had a use for the extras because I've just never had them split, which is great. So if you're kind of like a rough shuffler like me, you're gonna find those really great. So the next thing that I would recommend is spending money on your mana base. I feel like it can be really overwhelming and easy to just get really lost amongst all the cards that you want to do to get to make your deck better. Mana base is a really good place to start because they just make your deck so much better and so much smoother. There's nothing wrong with running basics. I run basics in all my decks, and I'd recommend you running basics in your commander decks. But with that being said, there are a lot of lands that are just going to make your deck better. So like, for example, the fetch lands, the shock lands, those are things that I would really recommend investing in and spending a lot of money in. I would also say too, they do reprint fetch lands quite a bit, I feel like, which has been really amazing. They just reprinted the enemy fetch lands, which they haven't been printed in a long time, so it was really great in Modern Horizons 2. So they're very affordable, so if you haven't picked those up yet, you definitely should, because they're at an incredibly good price right now. So I definitely recommend checking those out. But I would say, like, if you're, and the thing too about your mana base is, like, I'm gonna say invest in it, so like you want to get cards like Shocklands and things, but like if you're like considering like, oh, should I get like spend money on the fetch lands? Yes. But could I also run cards like Evolving Wilds? I run those cards too. I have like cheaper lands and I have more expensive lands. And I would say running like, it's just going to be slower cards like Evolving Wilds, and you can only get basics with them. So it's just something to note. If you're playing your average game of Commander where you're doing kind of powerful things, but you're not doing anything like crazy in your playgroup, you can honestly probably just get away with running like cards like Evolving Wilds. And those cards might be like a little bit more, they might be like a couple more cents or something like that than just getting basics, but like just spend the money on cards like that. It's just going to make your deck better. It's going to help get you your colors if you're playing in, 2, 3, 4, 5 colors or something like that. So if you guys want to do kind of like an overview of like lands, let me know. And I can kind of just do like okay, these are the type of lands that you can run and kind of give you guys like options. Cause I feel like a lot of the lands have like, they run in multiple colors, and there's also like specialty lands and things like that. I do have videos on my channel where I talk about, it's called Let's Not Be Basic with Lands, and I do that, but I can do one more that's more like a general overview, like the best lands for Commander or something like that. Let me know if you guys would be interested in that, because I think that'd be a really helpful video. But anyways, so yeah, I would just say spend money on your mana base. Like, it's gonna make your deck better. Thinning your deck out so you can get access to your better cards and things is really great, so you're not like super flooded all the time. So yeah, that's my recommendation for that. So okay, the next thing is a pre-release. Gosh, I am a sucker for a pre-release. Like, honestly, they're just so fun. Honestly, you guys, I miss a lot of things in Magic. Like, we've been taking quarantine very seriously. there was like that window where like we played Magic and we were like safe and we felt okay about it, and now we're kind of back to like not, doing that, so which is really sad. And one aspect of Magic I really miss is going to pre-release events, and there's just something about going to a pre-release where it's like everyone is just so like excited about the set, and like it's just like, to me, it's like such a lax casual event where it's like no one takes a pre-release too seriously, at least the people that I've played with, which is great. And the one thing that's really nice too is like, you'll have people at an event where it's like, oh, maybe you're not friends with everyone, or maybe you don't know everyone, but like, if you go to your LGS, it's like, oh yeah, that's Ricky who plays Commander or whatever. You know what I mean? It's just like you kind of have like a cool community of people. At least that's how I feel with it. And it's like one of the first times you get access to the set, which is so exciting. And like, it's just so fun. It's a fun way to open, a bunch of packs. It's not the most expensive thing too, which is really nice, as you can get a chance to open some packs and you get your pre-release promo card or whatever, and it's just like overall a really fun event. Like, I love pre-releases, and it's just one thing that's really cool about them too is they're like that rare occurrence. There's only a couple pre-release events a year, so it's kind of like a more not exclusive, just like a fun sort of like rare thing where it's like, oh yeah, like the pre-release is coming about. So I really miss playing Magic with my friends, but I really miss pre-release events as well. Like, it just makes me really sad. Just like fun. Like, does anyone remember like, was it Battle for Zendikar when like Expeditions first came out? Was that what it is? And I don't know about y'all's experience, but I remember like playing at my LGS back in Connecticut, and like we were all just like, oh my gosh, like I got an Expedition, and it was like the coolest event. It was like so cool, and it was just so fun. Like, the energy in the room was just so hyped, and everyone's just so into it. Like, it's so fun. And you know what? If you open up a bad pool at a pre-release event, it's just like, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I think if you're doing that in a more competitive setting, I think it's like, oh man, like I didn't open like good stuff, whatever. But it's like, you just might get a bad pool, but like, who cares? It's like such a casual event. It's super fun. So I love pre-release events. Definitely worth like the $40 or whatever that they are. So yeah. Okay. this is, I don't want to say if this is like controversial, but like, the word seems really strong when we're talking about Magic cards here, but like buying singles, I think is just a really great idea. And I remember like back when I first started playing Magic, and like the way that I got cards was literally through packs, like fat packs, things like that, because I didn't buy like the booster boxes at the time, so it was like fat packs, because fat packs are like more affordable, and which they were called fat packs. Now they're called something else. I have no idea what they're called now, literally can't keep up. But you have that, and those were like around like 40 or so. And I also got cards through like trades, and that's pretty much all how I acquired cards. Like, I didn't start buying singles until like later on in my Magic journey, and I would say it's just I think for a lot of people, they just love opening packs, which I totally agree with. I love opening packs too. But if I'm like looking for a card, like, here's how I evaluate like a set is we will get a box if we like the majority of the set, or we think the set's going to be valuable or something like that. But if I look at a set and I only want 5 cards, I'm just going to buy those 5 singles. You know what I mean? So I feel like singles are just the best way to go in terms of like figuring out what cards you need. I really recommend making like a wish list or something like that of cards that you need and just keeping track of it there. It makes my life super easy. That way when you're trading too, it's just so easy, because you should be like, oh, need that card or don't need that card or something like that. So I would just say, honestly, singles, just the way to go, you know? So the last thing that I want to talk about in this video is I guess they're called Magic Fests now, but Grand Prix. I'm probably always going to refer to them as like GPs, because like it just sounds cool to say GP. I feel like Magic Fest is cool too, but I don't know. I just think it's like a GP. You know what I mean? I think there is this assumption about Grand Prix with some people. They think, I don't play in the main event, why would I go? And I had that assumption for a little bit too, and I'm just here to tell you, just because you're not playing in the main event does not mean that you should not attend a Grand Prix, because there are so many other things to do that don't involve the main event. There are side events, all sorts of formats, side events. So if you're like Commander player, if you're, let's say the main event is Standard and you're a Modern player, like there's Modern side events. There's like really cool, like I remember in Grand Prix Vegas in 2018, they did like an alpha draft or like a Legends or Alliances something. They do like things like that, which is so cool. So there's like sealed stuff that you can do. It's just, there's that aspect of like actually playing Magic, and then you could just randomly, play Magic with your friends. Like that's an option too. You can meet artists, which is one of my personal favorite things to do, because you can bring cards and then you can get them signed. They also have prints and stuff. One thing I would say, if you're going to go to a Grand Prix and you are going to, which I know they're not doing them right now, but when they do, by the way, I'm so excited about Grand Prix coming back in some point when it's safe, because I really want to go to another Grand Prix. I'm just really missing my friends, and I'm really missing Magic right now. Anyone else just like in that boat? But if you are going to go to those events and you are going to get cards signed and things like that, and the artists don't charge, please make sure you tip them. It's a lot of money for the artists to come out there, and just make sure you're tipping them. That's like a really important thing to do. So that is one of my favorite aspects. Another aspect that I love so much about going to Grand Prix is that there are so many vendors there selling cards, selling stuff. Deck boxes, binders, all this kind of stuff. And I personally, and I've always been this way, I feel like this is a very interesting thing. Let me know if you're the same way. But I feel like a lot of times, especially generationally, like now, a lot of people just buy things online. Which, don't get me wrong, I buy stuff online too. But to me, nothing beats like going into a store and buying stuff. Like nothing. It depends. I would say it depends on what I'm buying, but like Magic cards, I'll buy Magic cards online, and that's super fun. I like, getting cards in the mail and things like that. I do that, but there's nothing. It's just walking down like this row where it's like you've got booth after booth of just beautiful foil Magic cards. Like, what is better than that? Seriously. I absolutely love that aspect. It's just, there's so much going on in those events. And another thing too that I think a lot of people don't talk about enough is, if you're not going into the main event, or maybe if you are and you don't drop or you don't go to D2 or whatever, like, you're in a city that maybe you're from or maybe you're not, and you're traveling there. Most likely you're probably traveling there. Explore the city. Like, there's things to do that are not just that event. You know, go check out some restaurants, go check out some sightseeings, go, you know, like, go to a museum, like, whatever. There's so many different things to do in the area that you are in. So I would recommend, you know, doing something like that. So that's one thing that Paul and I talked about, is like, when we are able to go, when things are safe to, like, back to Grand Prix, and Grand Prix are a thing, is just going and, like, you know, doing some magic stuff, but then also just going and checking out that city and taking, you know, some time off work to, like, go and do that. So, yeah, guys, that is everything. Those are just 6 things that I think are just in general really worth it in Magic. I'd really like to know if there's other things that you guys think. I didn't mention, like, everything, but if you guys are interested, I can do a second part. Also, another video I was thinking of doing as well is doing, like, an opposite of this, so kind of like things that I don't think are worth the money. So let me know if you're interested in that as well, and I can definitely do that. So yeah, that is it for me. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you're not already, and I'll catch you in my next one.